I never thought moving into my dream home would feel like stepping onto a battlefield. But that was before I met Karen Wilcox, the self-appointed queen of our homeowners association. Last spring, I found the perfect place, a cozy craftsman with a beautiful yard and, best of all, its own natural spring well. The water was the freshest I'd ever tasted. I was so focused on the house that I completely overlooked the iron-fisted ruler of the neighborhood, Karen. Our first showdown happened just 3 weeks after I moved in. I was building a small garden shed when a silver Mercedes pulled into my driveway. A woman with a perfect blonde bob and designer sunglasses stepped out, clutching a clipboard like a weapon. "Excuse me," she announced, her smile way too tight to be friendly. "I'm Karen Wilcox, HOA president. That shed wasn't approved. You'll need to remove it immediately." I tried to be reasonable. "Hi Karen, I'm James. I actually submitted the paperwork last week. It meets all the guidelines." Her smile vanished. "I don't remember approving it. And as committee chair, nothing gets built without my signature. Expect a violation notice tomorrow. $50 a day until it's gone." That was just the beginning. For the next 6 months, she hounded me with petty violations. My grass was half an inch too tall, my trash cans were visible for too long, and my wind chimes were an unauthorized noise disturbance. Every single complaint came with a personal inspection from Karen, who clearly savored every moment of my misery. The real war started when I decided to landscape around my well. I submitted detailed plans, triple-checked every bylaw, and, to my surprise, received an approval letter. The one catch, Karen hadn't signed it. The vice president had, while she was on vacation. That should have been a massive red flag. I hired a crew, and the result was stunning, a stone enclosure surrounded by native flowers that looked fantastic. I was admiring their work when Karen's Mercedes screeched to a halt. "What do you think you're doing?" she shrieked, storming across my lawn. This monstrosity was never approved. I calmly held up the approval letter. It was signed by the VP. "Everything's in order." Karen's face turned crimson. "He has no authority. I review all water feature modifications. Tear it out or I'm taking this to the board." I stood my ground. "It's not a water feature, it's a well enclosure. And the well was here before the HOA even existed. It's grandfathered in." Her eyes narrowed. "We'll see about that," she hissed before storming off. At the next HOA meeting, she tried to revoke my approval, but the board sided with me. A valid approval is a valid approval. I thought I had one, but the smug smile on Karen's face told me this was far from over. A few days later, I noticed a strange chemical smell in my water. I had it tested, and the results were horrifying. Traces of herbicide. My heart sank. I immediately installed a security camera pointed directly at the well. 2 nights later, my phone buzzed with a motion alert. I watched in disbelief as the footage showed Karen, under the cover of darkness, sneaking onto my property with a garden sprayer. The camera captured everything: her removing the well cap, spraying a chemical directly into my water source, and carefully replacing the cap. This wasn't just an HOA dispute anymore. She had poisoned my drinking water. I called the police and the Environmental Protection Agency. Tampering with a water source is just a finable offense. It can be a federal crime. The officer who responded reviewed the footage, took samples, and told me to stay away from Karen while they investigated. I lived on bottled water for the next week as the EPA rushed their analysis. The results were damning. My well contained dangerous levels of the exact same herbicide they found in Karen's garage. What she didn't know was that my well fed into a small aquifer that supplied water to several other homes. Her personal vendetta had endangered multiple families. The morning of her arrest is a scene I'll never forget. Police cars and an EPA vehicle swarmed her perfect colonial house. I watched from my window as she answered the door in her designer workout gear, her expression shifting from annoyance to confusion, and finally, to pure shock as the officers placed her in handcuffs. She had crossed a line that no neighborhood dispute could ever justify. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for more stories. This is ridiculous. I'm the HOA president, she shrieked. Do you know who my husband is? He's a corporate attorney. But her title and her husband's job meant nothing. The officers just snapped the handcuffs shut and read her Miranda rights as stunned neighbors stepped out of their homes to watch the drama unfold. As they escorted her toward the police car, this HOA president, Karen, locked her eyes onto me with a look of pure fury. This is your fault, she screamed at the top of her lungs. I was protecting our property values from your eyesore. The charges against her were no joke. We're talking criminal contamination of a water supply, trespassing, property damage, and reckless endangerment. This wasn't just some petty neighborhood squabble anymore, because the contamination affected multiple households and posed a massive community health risk. State environmental laws kicked in, elevating the whole case to a felony environmental crime. At her arraignment, Karen's usual arrogance was completely gone. The confident, domineering woman we all knew had vanished. The judge wasn't having any of it, denied bail, and called her behavior calculated, persistent, and a direct threat to public safety. Her husband, the high-powered corporate attorney, just sat there, pale and speechless. It got even worse when prosecutors revealed she had purchased the industrial-grade herbicide with their joint credit card. And get this, she had even researched untraceable poisons on her home computer. It was like something out of a crime show. The emergency HOA meeting that followed was an event to behold. The room was packed with furious residents, and you could feel the anger in the air. Many of them had unknowingly been drinking water from that same contaminated aquifer. The acting HOA president started with a public apology and immediately made a motion to permanently remove Karen from the board. The vote was unanimous. Not a single person hesitated. Then, the financial bomb dropped. Not only was Karen facing up to 12 years in prison, but she and her husband were also hit with a $2 million civil lawsuit from the affected homeowners and the HOA's insurance. They wouldn't cover a penny of it because her actions were criminal. This is the same woman who once fined me for having unauthorized wind chimes. Now she was staring down complete financial and legal ruin. Her entire life was imploding because of her own malicious actions. As the meeting wrapped up, Karen's husband approached me, looking utterly defeated. He looked like a ghost. Please, he whispered, and his voice was trembling. If you drop the charges, we'll pay for all the damages and we'll move away. She's not well. She just got carried away with the HOA authority. I didn't even flinch. I just handed him my lawyer's business card. Environmental terrorism, in getting carried away, I told him calmly. Your wife poisoned children's drinking water because she didn't like my landscaping. I will fully support the prosecution. The color drained from his face as reality finally crashed down on him. There would be no special treatment, no easy way out of this mess. As he walked away, his shoulders slumped under the crushing weight of what was coming. I heard him mutter something about having to sell their house just to pay for her legal fees. You know, for someone who spent years weaponizing property values against her neighbors, I couldn't think of a more fitting consequence. It was perfect poetic justice. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. See you next time.